What's up, everybody? We're back with another one. We're back with Final Fantasy Tactics, and we are back with the SBS review for Final Fantasy Tactics Remastered. Now, I said I wasn't going to do a review for this, and that's because honestly I was just being lazy. But I also realized that A, this is a new version of the game, and it deserves to be talked about in its own right. And B, there's going to be a lot of new people playing this game for the first time, and they don't deserve to be excluded from the conversation of the game. So the best way to include them in the conversation is to do a review to let them know how the game is if they want to jump in for the first time. Now, as you know, this is my all-time favorite video game, so I'm going to try to make this review as objective as possible. I don't think it'll be tough because honestly, as much as I love this game, I've always said that given the opportunity, I can talk for hours about the beasts I have with this game. So let's go ahead and do this review, talk about all the dope shit about it, and talk about some of the stuff that I actually didn't like about this remaster. So let's get started. So as with all these reviews, we start with the sound. And as with these reviews, if you are new here, I talk about the world map theme, the battle theme, and the boss theme, because those are the three songs you're going to be hearing the most. So those are the songs that we need to talk about. So, the world map theme for Final Fantasy Tactics is simply called World Map. And before we jump into the theme itself, it's good for you guys to know that this OST has like a militaristic theme throughout, which makes sense considering the setting of the game and the characters involved. But Hitoshi Sakimoto does a really great job of blending the fantasy sound into it. So it's not overpowering in any way, and it still comes off as a Final Fantasy soundtrack. So, World Map. World Map gives the vibe of an army setting out on their journey to the next battlefield, but we're at a point where morale is really high. There's also like a relaxing vibe to it. Like, we don't have to worry about the threat of monsters, the threat of enemy soldiers or ambushes. We're traveling, we're feeling good, we're chilling, and we're just on to the next one. The song fits the vibe of the game really well. It also gives off that relaxing exploration vibe. Now, as for the battle theme, there's not like one set battle theme. There's all types of battle themes throughout the entire game, and the majority of them are fucking fire. But what I chose for this section is the song Random Waltz, because that's probably the song you're gonna hear the most in the game. Now, this song is really cool because like when you hear it, you think, oh shit, this is like a ballroom song, like ballroom dancing, like that type shit. But you're in a fucking battle. But when you think about the battle as like a dance between the combatants involved, then that vibe really makes sense, and that tone for the song really makes sense. Throw on top of that the militaristic vibe that the soundtrack already has, bro, and this song weaves together beautifully. Now the boss theme. This song is called The Impure, and I love this song. What I love about it the most is that like when you close your eyes and hear it, like I don't have to describe the vibe. Like, you feel it immediately. You immediately know that whatever the fuck you're in the room with is not supposed to exist. It is not supposed to fucking be here, and it is trying to kill us. On top of that, I think the song does a really good job of instilling like hopelessness and the feeling of fear in the player. So when you overcome the battle and win, it feels so much better. It feels like you're fighting against the song, like proving it wrong. Overall, this OST is amazing. Now, there's a few misses here and there, but they're few and far between, and for the most part, you're gonna be bobbing your head from start to finish of the game. Hitoshi Sakimoto does a really wonderful job of storytelling and world building through his music. It's really great. So the battle system. Final Fantasy Tactics is a strategy RPG that leans more into the RPG side of things than the strategy side of things. So if you're coming from Fire Emblem, you'll notice that difference right away. Your map sizes are going to be smaller, your unit count is going to be smaller. At most you'll control 6 units, well you control 5 and you'll have like a guest party member that makes it 6. That though rarely happens. And then as far as your enemy combatants, you'll probably fight no more than 8 or 9 enemy units at a time. Where the battle system truly shines though is the job system. And the job system allows you to customize your units in so many different ways. There's 20 jobs total that you can get for your units. And those jobs range from basic ones like Squire and Chemist that you start with. And by the end of the game, you have things like ninjas, samurais, dragoons that can do really, really cool stuff. The way you unlock these jobs is by leveling up the prior jobs. So once you get a level 3 Squire or level 2 Squire, you unlock a knight. And when you get a level 3 knight, you unlock a monk, so on and so forth. And then a combination of those jobs unlock other jobs down the way. So you're unlocking jobs with a resource called JP. And that same JP is used to buy skills. And the skills for the jobs are divided into 4 categories: action, reaction, support, and movement. And then you can take all those skills and equip them in whatever way you want while you're equipped to any job you want. That's right, folks. You can have a main job and a backup job. So you can be an archer with a knight skill set. Oh, and what makes that so unique is that knights can break armor and equipment. So imagine being an archer that can do that from a distance. So sick. Personally, what I like to do is make Ramza a monk, and then I learn equip armor with the knight, equip that, equip his squire's job as a secondary skill set, because Ramza's squire job has a lot of really dope support abilities: increase movement, speed, restore health, cure illnesses, poison, shit like that. With his monk set that can retrieve and also heal HP in greater amounts, on top of being a really mobile, quick attacker. Like, I just like having this tank Ramza that can heal people and cure people and punch shit in the face. It's really sick. And that's where a lot of the fun of this battle system comes from, man. It comes from just exploring all the jobs, all the skills, and equipping and mixing and matching and creating cool custom units just for you. There's a meta and there's a right way to play the game, but fuck all that, man. This game honestly isn't hard enough for you to have to do that. You can do anything you want, create any unit you want, get through the game and have a blast doing it. And that's what I recommend. Alright, so the story of Final Fantasy Tactics is godlike. I'm not even gonna front. It's one of my favorite stories in gaming. And I really can't wait for you guys to play it. I can't wait to talk to you guys about this in the comments. But until then, we'll keep it spoiler free. So, the story is pretty much Ramza and his homie Delita. They're best friends despite the fact that Ramza's highborn and Delita's lowborn. Events eventually lead them to realize that they cannot lead the lives that they want to lead. And the realization of that leads them down very different paths that end up intersecting later on down the line. And the way they intersect and what quests they are on when that happens, y'all gotta see it. But it's a really dope story about basically how your birth does not determine your destiny, and it hits on a human level while still like being a Final Fantasy game. So there's mystic shit and cosmic shit, but at the end of it all, it's a story about two people trying to find their place in the world and trying to carve out their own paths despite the roads they were placed on when they were born, dude. And it's really fucking good. Alright, so this part of the video is where I want to talk about all the cool shit that the remaster added, because I see online that a lot of people have a misunderstanding about what was actually added to the remaster, and I want to clear that up, show you guys what's going down, and show you why I think this is the best version of the game. So first, we'll start with the low-hanging fruit. We'll start with the graphics, and that's subjective. Like, the smoothing shit, it didn't bother me, but I can honestly see why that bothers people. And to be honest with you, if we had the option, I would have turned it off. But you can't turn it off, and it also doesn't really ruin anything or change anything for me, but that mileage varies on that one. As for the UI and menu updates, this is why I think this is, well, 2 of the 3 pieces of why I think this is the best version of the game. The UI updates, especially in battle, are fucking awesome. OGs. Everything we had to go into the menus and find like turn order, when spells would go off, all that random shit we had to find before we made decisions is right on the fucking screen. And it's on the screen in a way where it is not intrusive at all. You want to know who's going next in battle? Just fucking look on the left side of the screen. It's right there. When it shows you the zodiac signs, like it shows you, what else does it show you? It shows you when spells go off or spells are targeted. You don't have to go into any menus to find any of that information anymore. Everything is right there. And the other big one for me, bro, when you're going into battle, when you're setting up your unit formation or your formation of your units, you can change everything. Bro, in the older versions, my OGs, you know this. If you went into a battle, but you forgot to change a job, or you forgot to change equipment, reset button. Fucking terrible, bro. But now you can change all that shit before you jump into battle, bro. You can change jobs, you can change equipment. It is so sick. Thank you for that change. Oh, and this change is big too. Random battles. So again, my OGs, we know the struggle. If we wanted to get into random battles to level up, we just had to walk over squares back and forth until a battle popped off. Or conversely, if we wanted to travel somewhere and we did not want to get into a battle, we start walking and we would pray a battle wouldn't go off. Because if a battle popped off, you had to fight it. You could not retreat. In this version, you can set off random battles whenever you want, and you can retreat from random battles whenever you want. On top of that, if you're in a chain battle, like, you know, the one at the end, the famous one with the lock, you can just retreat now and get out of that shit. Level back up, go back in. You can no longer soft lock yourself in this game, bro. And the biggest change of them all, the third of the three changes that make this the superior version of Final Fantasy Tactics, the voice acting and the updated script. They changed so much for this game. Every single story scene, every important scene in this game now is voice acted.
'Tis long past the hour for drills. What is happening, I wonder? Delita, what do you suppose this is about?
I could hazard a guess.
Oh? Do tell.
I think Duke Larg is coming to Garland.
Duke Larg? Why?
Not just the Duke. The Marquis Elmdor de Limbri, too.
The voice acting is extremely well done, and it adds so much emotion and depth to everything. On top of that, the script's been updated since so much of it is spoken now, and it makes the story so much easier to understand. And the biggest indicator of that, or the biggest what am I trying to say? The biggest winner of that change. That's what I'm trying to say. The biggest winner of that change, the scriptures are Germanique. If you know, you know. That shit is so much easier to understand, and it just makes the story just click so much harder, it is so much better. Please, if you've played this game in the past, play this version somehow, some way, and I promise you the story will be so much better. Oh, and another thing about the remaster that's dope that they gave you is they gave you the entire original version of the game. Now, that original version of the game has the War of the Lions translation, and we'll get into that War of the Lions shit later. So it's not the original PS1 translation, it's the PS1 version of the game with the War of the Lions script. It's still pretty dope because you get that OG balance, the OG, it's not the OG job names, which I hate. Shell, bust, stab, baby, give me hell, cry, punch. But it's still the original balance, like I said, and the original graphics and the original PS1 game speed, all that shit. So that's really cool that they just gave you that for free, basically. Well, not free, but it just comes with the game. And another thing that this version does that it ripped off from Final Fantasy 16, but it's fucking fire, is the State of the Realm. And I think that is so cool because this game's story can get kind of dense, and it's good to be able to go back and see what was going on in Ivalice at certain points in the game and the main players that were involved in that point. It's really fucking sick. On top of that, the OG game has this too, but it has a theater mode where you can go back and watch all the old cutscenes, and it also has like a glossary of like all the characters, so you can like see them as they change throughout the game. What the remaster does though, it allows you to go back through every version of the character, because some characters change as the story goes along, so you can flip those pages back and forth between the old and new version of the character, which is pretty fucking sick. Now, after gushing and glazing this game for this entire review, let's talk about that shit I don't like. And there's quite a few things I don't like about this version of the game. And let's start with what I already mentioned, that War of the Lions shit. So, like I said, the original version of the game that comes with the remaster has the War of the Lions script, the translation. However, nothing else from War of the Lions made it over. If you're unfamiliar with War of the Lions, that's the PSP version of the game. It's the PlayStation version, PSP version, and this version. The PSP version did a lot of changes of the original version, like that updated script I mentioned. It added 2 new jobs, Dark Knight and Onion Knight, which are not here. It added 2 new characters, Balthier from Final Fantasy XII and Luso from Final Fantasy Tactics A2. They are not here. And there's cutscenes and stuff that aren't in the main game, but there's a gallery that you can go and watch those cutscenes if you want to see them. For me, that's not enough to stop me from buying or like gushing about this version of the game. I think what they added adds more to the game than what the War of the Lions stuff added. But War of the Lions should be a selectable version of the game that you can play, just like the original version is on PlayStation, and that PlayStation version should have its own original script. The old OG script, blame yourself or God, that should be that translation. So all 3 versions should live as they originally were on this remaster. That would be the dream. Another thing that was kind of a miss for me is Tactician mode, and that's the new difficulty setting for the remaster. Now what Tactician mode does do is it does make the game harder, and it achieves that by having you deal less damage and take more damage from enemies. On top of that, they made enemy AI a little smarter. Like for example, if you have counter and your enemy has a move that doesn't set counter off, they'll use that move instead. Things like that, not too shabby. But what I really wanted to see was like new random battle setups, like battles against unique jobs. So you get into a fight and one of the enemies is like a Dark Knight, or one of the enemies is like a Holy Knight, some shit like that. I thought that would have been really cool to do. But as it stands now, Tactician mode is just like, it makes the game harder, but like you can still out level it. So at the end of the day, it ends up kind of being the same. You just grind out levels, and then Tactician mode is just you punching shit in the face. And then one thing I want to mention for my new players that really, honestly, when I was a kid playing this game, it fucked my head up. The difficulty spikes in this game, there's a lot of them, and they come at you quick. And the first difficulty spike is probably the 3rd battle of the game, Dorter Trade City. I believe it's the 3rd battle of the game, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. It's probably one of the hardest battles in the game. It's a fucking skill jump. So I just want to let you guys know now, prepare for that shit. Get you a mage, make sure your chemist is on point. Just make sure that you can get through that fucking battle. It is a tough one. Overall, y'all, I absolutely adore this video game, as you can tell. I've had a great time talking about it with y'all. I've had a lot of fun filming this review and talking about the game. And my biased love for this game wants to give this a 10 out of 10 because it's the best fucking game ever made. But objectively speaking, I can't give it a 10 out of 10. But I will give it an 8 out of 10. It's a fantastic video game that has a couple of flaws, but those flaws aren't enough to keep you from playing it and keep you from having a great time. Alright everybody, that's going to do it for me and my SBS review for Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster. This game is awesome, and I hope that you guys have a lot of fun with it. Let me know about how you feel, or let me know how you feel about this game in the comments. You obviously know that I adore it, but tell me how you feel. Tell me what your favorite moments are. Tell me what your favorite builds are. Tell me what your favorite jobs are. Favorite characters, favorite anything, favorite everything. I want to hear it. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.